everyone, my name is Hafizah Binti Adnan. I am second year law student, soon entering my third year of a degree. I recently had the opportunity to complete my first practicum at the High Court of Sibu, or Mahkamah Tinggi Sibu. This attachment marked a very important milestone in my journey of studying law. Before this practicum, most of my exposure to the legal world was purely academic. I learned about cases and statutes through lectures, textbook, and assignment. But during these weeks of attachment, I was able to experience the real side of the legal system, to step inside the courtrooms, to watch the proceedings, to interact with judges, magistrates, prosecutors, and staff, and to understand how justice is earned out in practice. So this practicum was actually more than just an observation. It was actually a chance to immerse myself in the daily life of the court, to be challenged with real tasks, and to gain lessons that I will carry with me in the future. So through these practicums, my court supervisor is Puan Jessica Lee Suk Kyun, who is a Senior Assistant Registrar of the High Court of Sibu, and my UUM supervisor is Associate Professor Dr. Nur Anita Binti Abdullah. So, let's see what I have learned throughout my practical journey. So, I have divided my reflection into three parts, which is the first one, practical learning, second one, mentorship and guidance, and last one is reflections and my future aspirations. So now, let's start with the first one, practical learning. One of the most valuable aspects of my attachment was the practical learning. From the very first day, I was placed directly in open court to observe a hearing instead of just going through a formal briefing. That moment alone was unforgettable. I saw how the judge carried the proceedings with the authorities, how the lawyers presented their submissions, and how the staff ensured everything ran smoothly. So it was my first glimpse into the discipline and respect that must exist inside a courtroom. So during my practicum, I had the opportunity to observe a wide variety of cases. At the magistrate courts, I watched trials involving drug possessions and theft. At the High Court, I was exposed to more complex matters such as bankruptcy, divorce petitions, and company-related dispute. I even observed serious criminal trials involving murder and corruptions. So, each case gave me a different insights. For example, how evidence is introduced, how witnesses are treated, and how submissions are structured. So, these observations help me connect what I learned in class with the reality in the practice. So, reading about bail or sentencing in textbook is one thing, but actually seeing how a magistrate considered the arguments before making a ruling gave me a deeper understanding of the principles behind the law. Apart from observing court proceedings, I was also given practical assignments. Magistrate and my supervisors assigned me research tasks and asked me to prepare presentations on specific topics. So, among the topics were summary trial, bail, sentencing, pleadings, and amendments of pleadings. To prepare, I spent many hours in the court library going through the textbook, the law reports, and references materials. So it was actually not easy because sometimes I struggled to find the right cases or explanations. But the process trained me to be more resourceful and independent. So, presenting in front of the judges and my supervisors was initially intimidating, but it turned out to be one of the most rewarding parts of my practicums because I gained confidence in speaking out about the law, in organizing my thoughts, and in answering questions. These presentations were not just academic exercises, they were opportunities to practice the very skills I will need in the future later. So now, let's move on to the second one. Another important dimension of this practicum was the mentorships and guidance I received from the people at the court. My supervisor, Puan Jessica, who is the deputy registrar, guided us throughout the attachments. She allowed me to review actual case files under her, which were mostly related to bankruptcy, company matters, and divorce. Going through real files gave me a better idea of how documents are prepared and organized, and how cases progress step by step. One of the most impactful experience was when Puan Jessica brought us to the bilik jenayah session kanak-kanak, and she explained how this room was designed to create a safe space for the child victims to share their experiences. So the door place, they were specifically made with full body parts so that children who were too afraid or shy to speak could simply point out to show what had happened. So listening to her explanations reminded me that the law is not just about the rules and the punishment, but also about compassion and protecting those who cannot protect themselves. I also had the privilege of meeting and learning directly from the judges and prosecutors. For example, the Deputy Public Prosecutor, Madam Nuralisa, shared her real personal journey in the legal professions. She explained her job scope and gave us advice about perseverance, professionalism, and balance. So her words encouraged me to think not just about my studies now, but also about the kind of lawyer I want to be in the future later. So another inspiring figure was Magistrate Tuan On. He gave us legal questions to think about, whether an unserviceable gun is still considered a firearm under the Section 2 of the Firearms Act. And he also encouraged us to research, and when we met again, he explained the nuances of the law. At the same time, he also shared his memory as an alumni of UUM, which made me feel very proud and motivated. So Magistrate Tuan Romario also played a very important part throughout my practicum journey. He gave us the task to prepare, and later we presented in front of him. Although very nerve-wracking, but it was a valuable opportunity to receive feedback directly from a judge. So these interactions with experienced legal officers were some of the highlights of my practicum. So because they combine professional lessons with the professionals with the personal encouragement. The last one is the reflections and the future aspirations. So looking back at the whole journey, I can say that this practicum has been a turning point. For me, it was not just about learning the technicalities of law, but also about understanding the bigger picture of justice. So I developed more discipline in my work, confidence in my abilities, and appreciations for the seriousness of the legal professions. So observing sensitive cases, whether it was a child victim in a sexual offense matter or a tragic murder trial, showed me the emotional weight carried by those in the justice systems. So it made me realize that being in these professions requires not only knowledge and skills, but also empathy, patience, and strength. So this attachment also reminded me of the responsibility that comes with studying law. So it is not just simply about building a career, but about serving society and protecting justice. So every judge, magistrate, prosecutor, and registrar, I may carry this sense of study and this sense of duty, and that inspired me to think carefully about the lawyer that I hope to become. So the practicum strengthened my motivation to continue work hard in my studies, and I have a clear picture of what lies ahead and what kind of challenges I might face. So more importantly, I have a stronger sense of purpose to use what I learned to contribute meaningfully to the legal field and to the community. Last, I would like to say that my attachment at the High Court of Sibu was an unforgettable and transformative experience. It gave me a practical learning through real cases, valuable mentorship from legal officers, and deep reflections about my futures. So I am truly grateful to my supervisor, Puan Jessica, to the judges and magistrate, including Tuan Mario, Tuan On, and Puan Stella, to Madam Noralisa, and all the court staff who supported me during this practicum. So this journey has taught me lessons that I will carry for life, not only as a law student, but as someone preparing to serve in the legal profession one day. That's all from me. Thank you.